Hey guys, I'm Kimberly,
I'm Randal.
and we're the Rudies.
We just wanted to take a few minutes to kind of let everybody know, what is Our Roundabout Life? What is this channel about? What can you expect to see here?
How did Our Roundabout Life come to be?
Yeah. And so, basically, to know that, you just got to know that we've always been big dreamers. We've always made big plans, and we have some big dreams we want to accomplish out there in the world. And but unfortunately, on April 3rd of this year, that kind of changed a little bit.
April 3rd, 2019 is when Randal got diagnosed with male breast cancer.
And so, that was, to me, at the time, was embarrassing, to be honest with you. But on the flip side, I'm very lucky. It just so happened back in the fall of the year before, we was laying in bed watching a new TV show. It's a little show called A Million Little Things. If you haven't checked it out, you are tuned into it.
Definitely.
But in that show, there's a character in there that's a male breast cancer survivor. And ironically, with us sitting there watching that show that night, I had felt a lump in my right breast. And I'd mentioned it to Kimberly. And honestly,
We didn't think much of it. We just felt like it would probably go away.
and so, I hate going to the doctor. And so I kind of deflected and really didn't want to go. I knew I had my yearly physical coming up at the beginning of the next year. And so I was like, let me just keep an eye on it. And if it changes, if it gets bigger, if it starts hurting, because at the time it wasn't hurting or anything, I said, then I'll let you know when we'll make an appointment to go to the doctor.
And then he never said another word about it until his doctor's appointment 6 months later.
And so, when we get to the end of the doctor's appointment, he tells me, just like he tells me every year, I'm healthy as a horse and as big as one too. And so he said, is there anything else you would like to talk about or discuss? And I said, well, yeah, I felt a lump here. And so he immediately inspected it and went out and got the nurse, and she immediately came back in, and she's actually a good friend of ours, and said that, there's 3 things we don't mess around with, and she said, lumps, bumps, and bruises. And she said, we've got you scheduled tomorrow morning for a mammogram. The nurse friend of ours, she said, when you get in there, ask them for a blue gown. And we like to cut up and have fun. We always try to look for the positive things out of life.
Sure.
And so, not knowing that they really didn't have blue gowns, we get there the next morning, and I asked for a blue gown, and the nurse was like, we don't have blue gowns.
But they did have brown.
Yeah, so she was a good sport. She did actually go get me a brown one. And so we went in there and, had that done. Again, a little embarrassing, but you do what you got to do sometimes. And she told us not to leave, to hang on, that the doctor might want to talk to us. And she was doing her best to, keep us calm. And she said, it's a pretty standard thing that when a man comes here, because males coming in here and getting a mammogram when they think something like that is pretty rare. I think it's 1 in 1,000.
1 in 1,000 men actually get diagnosed with breast cancer, but whether it's fortunately or unfortunately, the diagnostic center that we were in says that they see men every single week. So if you feel like you need to go in and get this done, guys, please don't be embarrassed.
Yeah, and again, the group there was very nice to us and made us feel right at home. But anyways, once they looked at that, they did come back in and said, we want to go ahead and do an ultrasound of the area. And so they took me back into a different room, and as soon as the tech started doing that procedure, she said, I'm going to step out and get the doctor.
So we knew that something was up.
So yeah, we knew something was going on. Didn't know exactly what, didn't know how bad, but the doctor came in and he said, there's definitely something there. He would not say what it was. Looking back at the medical records, hindsight's 20/20. I felt like was pretty sure what it was already, but obviously he didn't want to say until he knew for sure. So they sent us the next morning to a surgeon here in town and did a biopsy. And biopsy took about a week to get back before we knew anything, so we was kind of sitting on pins and needles at that point.
When the biopsy results came back in, they did diagnose it as malignant melanoma, which by definition is skin cancer. We did find out later it is technically metastatic malignant melanoma because it had traveled from his skin to his breast. That is kind of odd because there is no point of origin on his body to show where the skin cancer started, but because it had traveled, that makes it by definition automatically a stage 3 to stage 4 cancer. So it was pretty severe.
And so that's kind of a long roundabout way to get it roundabout. It's kind of to tell you how we got on this journey. So in light of all that, it made us realize real quick, because as business owners, we have rentals, we're real estate agents, we do a lot of different things. We do a 5-year plan every year.
And we had just finished our 5-year plan a couple of months before this diagnosis. In that 5-year plan, we discussed where we would like to see our business and where we would like to be financially and emotionally in a 5-year period. Well, Randal's diagnosis, at first we were told he only had a 20% chance of living for 5 years. So we really quickly realized that 5 years is too long for planning.
Yeah, so when you think you might not be here in 5 years, you quickly redefine what's important in your life. And you hear that from a lot of cancer patients. And but we just really kind of sat down and took a break and really wanted to decide what's important to us and how do we want to go about getting there.
And what can we do right now rather than wait 10 years, 15 years to achieve those big dreams that we have.
Yeah, because the problem we found out real quick is when you got big dreams, you tend to kind of put it on the back burner and think, well, I'll get to it someday. But it's not something you have to really work on day to day. And when you find out that you might not have 5 years, you tend to want to know what you can do right now with what you have, instead of trying to build more to get more.
For sure. So that's kind of what started Our Roundabout Life. I have a history in photography. Randal has a history with videography, and so we were always the ones that were behind the cameras. We were never in front of the camera. And so we did some soul searching and decided that it was time for us to step in front of the camera so that we could leave some memories for our children and our grandchildren. And then that kind of progressed into creating a YouTube channel to store all these memories and maybe make some new friends and teach some things.
Yeah. So when you come up with a YouTube channel, you got to come up with a name. And so we was trying to search, what would be a good name that would kind of help explain what we was going through. And so when you think about a roundabout has many different avenues you can get off of, different spokes, if you will. And then I have an embarrassing story. Back when GPS first came out of a roundabout, I hate roundabouts with a passion. And I got hung up on a roundabout with a GPS back years ago. So now anytime we come up on a roundabout, the kids kind of poke fun at me. And that's kind of what we do. That's kind of our thing. And so it's all in good humor, good fun. But it was really funny. And then Kimberly, being the creative one here, when we was trying to come up with a name, she's like, well, roundabout does have lots of different avenues and different spokes.
It was perfect, right?
And so that's what we went with. So that's how we came up with Our Roundabout Life. Now, just so you guys know, what can you expect to see on our channel? And we want to be very clear. We don't want to bring people in on one avenue and then send you off on another one. And so the main things we want to try to cover is, one, we will probably feature some more stories about my cancer journey, what I've gone through. I've since had surgery on that. We'll get into some other videos to kind of hopefully help some other people and especially men. I mean, it is kind of an embarrassing thing on how to go down that road and stay positive, because I do believe a positive attitude is the reason why I'm here today. And also in that, you know, right after I had surgery, we do have rentals, and so we purchased another house just right down the road here from us that we did a flip on.
Crazy to purchase a new home to flip just a few weeks after surgery, but
Yeah.
you know, that's how we roll.
But we did it, and so we'll have some videos on that, because again, we thought it would be nice to show people, you know, anybody can do it. You know, if you're intelligent and handy, you can do these things. And so we wanted to show that it's not as big a deal as you think it is, and anybody can do it.
But mostly what we're going to show is our camper, our travels, the beautiful places that we get to go see, and some of the adventures that we choose to take, just making the most of every single day that we get.
Yeah, because that's where we wound up at when we did our soul searching, and you know, and what do we want to do, and what do we want to do now rather than later. Again, we just always wanted to travel the U.S. in our RV and see some magnificent, stunning places. And so we've already taken some preparation of that. We had a huge 37-foot RV that we've traded in for a smaller one, so that we can hopefully travel further and be able to get into some places we couldn't get into with the other one.
Yeah, makes it easier to go out west and go farther away from home.
And so we're going to start putting some videos out there of our destinations, and we've already got some really cool destinations out there, and we got some really great ones coming up. So we hope you stay tuned and tune in and watch those. As you're browsing our channel, we'll do our best to make sure all the different videos are labeled so it's real clear. So if you only want to tune in for the house flipping and the home renovations, you'll see a tab for that. If you want to see just the RV destinations, you'll see that. We'll also have some how-to videos, because a lot of people want to go camping and don't have a clue what it entails. And so, you know, we've been doing RVing for about this will be going on our 5th year now. So we do have a lot of experiences we can share on what to do and what not to do.
But we still mess up sometimes too, and we'll be happy to show you those as well.
Yeah, we'll show you the bad as well as the good. And so anyways, everything will be clearly marked. I think I'm even going to start labeling them by state. So if you live off in another state and maybe Florida's too far to get to, maybe you can just pick the ones that's closer to your area that you can get to. And so just want to let you know that, you know, hopefully that'll help everybody navigate our channel.
So thank you guys for joining us. This is Our Roundabout Life. Stay tuned.